Stories from the Storm is a project of the Houston Flood Museum in partnership with Houston Public Media and is supported by Houston Endowment. Visit houstonfloodmuseum.org.
When we entered and we looked down, and it was kind of a black water.
Yeah.
And so because it was polluted,
I'll never
right?
forget the smell. The smell was unholy. I actually got back into Houston at like 7:10 on Saturday night from Europe. By the time I got home and stuff, it had started to rain. And because you live so close, I wanted to see how you were doing anyway. So I gave you a ring and said, hey, listen, I'm thinking of going downtown. And Caroline, my wife, in the background going, you're not going downtown. And I'm going, anyway, I'm going downtown. Do you want to come down and see what's going on in the theatre district? We wanted to make sure we get down here and just see the state of the buildings.
Yeah.
And with hindsight, that was probably a good thing and B, a thoroughly depressing thing, really.
It was shocking to me because I was sure that we were protected. I figure, we should be okay because we had the submarine doors. So when the first building we went into was the Alley Theater, when we entered, we walked into this stairway of the Newhouse Theater, and we looked down, and the water was up to just below the ceiling. We couldn't believe it.
It was already coming up the stairwell.
Yeah.
And that kind of recognition and realization that, oh my God, this is going to be awful. I mean, just really nasty. We had our flashlights and our phone torches, and we're trying to take pictures of it.
In this room, it was 10 feet. It was literally up to the ceiling in this room. I'm thinking, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is crazy. And all I could think about was, how are we going to pump this out? Because, there's no floor drains, so how are we going to pump this out? And it was just crazy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, though, when you got to these positions, you kind of the emotional impact of it is immediately overridden by the practicality of like, oh my God, here we go, we've got to get this done.
Yeah. And we literally had pumps in here on Tuesday the next day. It was like crazy.
No, it is. It's that straight click into, okay, it's disaster recovery mode. What do we got to do? And to even find out the extent of what the damage truly is.
Yeah. So we went from here down into the basement, which was
exactly
the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing.
It must have been even more heartbreaking for you and tonight, having done this wonderful refurbishment of the building and then to come in and just find it that wet.
It was. The basement was all completely redone. And so when we looked down in the basement, I just thought, oh my gosh, everything was just brand new, and now we got to do it all over again.
We locked up the place and headed over to Jones Hall. I mean, we didn't have keys for that building, so we could just look and see that atrium area had filled up. But then I was obviously anxious to get over to the Wortham and see what was over there. So we trotted across the road there, saw that dead catfish on the road.
Yeah, I'll never forget
where the water
that.
had gone up and come down again. The tunnel down to the car park was completely full of water, and there had clearly been a sort of film of water at least across the whole foyer area at ground level. And the escalators were obviously off, no power again. So 4 of us trolled up the escalator with the 2 TDI guys going, should we go with them? Should we go with them?
Yeah.
And then they did. Every time you come around a corner, you're thinking, okay, what's next?
Well, I remember walking on the stage of the Wortham and seeing all the costumes from Nutcracker, because they had raised them up and had them all spread out.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy smokes, almost surreal to be looking at all these gorgeous, absolutely drop-dead gorgeous costumes.
There was clearly a big current in there as well, because things had really been like torn off the hinges and things had been uprooted that were bolted to the floor and tables were turned up. There's a surreal thing of 50 sheets of plywood that are in a rolling rack upside down on top of something else, and you think, how much pressure and water did that take to lift 50 sheets of plywood up and then deposit it on top of something else? And you suddenly start to realize that it's going to be a lot longer deal than you thought.
We just got on the phones, I think, afterwards and started calling everybody so we got to get the building pumped out. Then we have to find a stage for our next show, because we knew that we were in production. We actually ran into the actors the next day. They were down volunteering over at George R. Brown, and Rajiv Joseph, the playwright, was saying, what can I do to help? And he said, well, what do you do normally? He says, well, I'm a playwright. They said, oh, you can help with announcements. So he said, I wrote the announcements for the George R. Brown, and he said, it was my largest audience I've ever had.
There you go. Wow. No, I mean, I think that's the thing is that, people immediately wanted to help, but when your building is just underwater, that's not the help you need. You need the practical help of people who actually know how to pump buildings out and recover buildings. opera houses are built because they're very specific and have very specific needs and requirements.
We had 84,000 props, 70 years of props, 10,000 square feet underwater, completely underwater. We had 15 feet of water in the basement. So we lost all but 8% of them. And that was a huge tragedy for us. And the prop department, I mean, those are their possessions.
Absolutely.
And it was just gut-wrenching to have to go through that. And then they had to come back with masks on and do an inventory and catalog the entire collection. It was really quite an effort.
When the insurance people say, oh no, it's too toxic for me to go down there to even look at the stuff, at that point you're like, you know what, this is not a good situation.
I didn't realize how, toxic the water was. And when they basically said, you have to understand everything it touches that is not either metal or cement has to go.
And all through this season, we've just been dealing with the after effects of that. It's like, oh no, we haven't got that anymore. Oh, we haven't got that. So we were out of our offices for, still are out of our offices now, but we were working out of Panera Bread, and anywhere with free Wi-Fi, you'd find HGO people, and then people said, oh, I've got this room in my apartment building, we can use that. But it was fantastic as well, the way the rest of Theatre District, people who had less damaged buildings, the guys over at Tuts were amazing, just opened their doors and said whatever we can do to help.
Whenever you ask somebody for help, the answer was almost always yes. People, how can I help? And they knew that we were under siege, and that was the whole Houston, can-do spirit that was so rewarding I think that we felt as we kind of went through this tragedy and have been feeling ever since.
That 9 days was truly astonishing, because as you say, anybody, even if they couldn't help you, they'd say, I can't help you, but I know someone who might be able to. And they would open there and they'd make phone calls for you and do everything.
It has been very rewarding, I think, for us personally, as well as our staffs, to see the rallying of not only they, but the city and everybody coming together in this tragedy. And, if I'm going to have a tragedy, I'd rather be in Houston than anywhere else, because the people are so great.
It's been that perfect mix of inspiration and perspiration, hasn't it? It was just like, if we put the hard work in, we can get people behind us and we can get it done. And that's Houston all over. Absolutely, 100%.